asking it to the people I'm out there. One thing I got to ask you though, why then is the girl so different? Why then is the why don't we everyday girls killing everybody? Why is that so different?
See?
Why is the girl so different?
You know what? I think it's you know what? I feel that again it has to do with role models, because if you look on society today and compare boys with girls, and you look deep into why so many boys are worse off than girls, it's because they do not have male role models.
Oh, you just knocked the nail on the head.
They do not have male role models that can guide them. Majority of, compared to girls and boys, there's always a mother in the picture. So a female will always have a mother to look up to, but there's not many males of society that are being there for their child. A majority of them are actually male that are, okay, if you relate back to the teenage killings, most of them, all of them are boys. So that's also to do with
DoubleM, you are very wise. You've opened my eyes tonight. I'm very proud of you. You've opened my eyes. That is a fact. What you said a while ago, there's nobody in this world can argue with that. What happens is that you'll find that the fathers have made the women pregnant, the child has been born, and then the fathers have absconded. And of course the woman is then left to bring the boy up. Now, as we said before, the woman do not know how to bring the boy up, but the woman knows how to bring a girl up. The woman knows how our mother brought her up. So that's why when you look on the street, the girls have a role model. They can look to their mothers and realize that this is the way to live, this is the way to do things. Steve, I heard what you were saying about walking down the road, sir. I hear exactly what you're saying about those boys and the swearing. Going back to what I'm saying, the girls then, of course, will have the mother to look up to. They'll have the mother to answer to. But the boys, no matter how the mother is trying, and no matter what she's doing, she finds it very difficult to cross the bridge to show the ways that her father would show him. And because that role model ain't there, it goes right back to the roots, and the grassroots is what I believe that you've said. The grassroots brings it right back and put it firmly in the laps of the fathers, firmly in the laps of men who are irresponsible, men who decide, well, you know, unless the woman stay with me, I'm not going to look after the child. And because of that, you see boys running wild, trying to find themselves, trying to become a man without the guidance of how to become a man. They believe that becoming a man means that you got to stand up, you got to fight in the street and stand your ground. They don't realize that sometimes it's good to run away. Sometimes it's good to walk away from a situation and trying to defend yourself, because it might save your life. But instead, what they're doing now, they're forming themselves in gangs to be a group. And just like Steve was saying, a group of boys walking down the road is a big man to them, and yet they don't find no way in swearing at them. People like Escape, I know Escape, you'll have no trouble with your kids, you'll have no trouble with your children, and there's a few mothers out there who are like that. But it's not every mother who's got that strength. It's not every mother who can wake up, you know, and have to dish out the punishment that some of these children need. Some of these mothers, what they do for punishment is that they go and buy their child something. They go and give them something else that they want, rather, you know, than standing up to them and says, you cannot have this. You've got to learn to work. You've got to help me in the house. You've got to do this. You've got to learn to paint. You've got to learn to put on a lock. You've got to learn to sweep the garden. You've got to learn to rake up all the stuff before you go out. You've got to be the man of the house. You've got to empty the bins. You've got to do things. You've got to take on responsibility. You've got to go out and get yourself a legitimate job. There's no point you coming and telling me you make all this money from herbs and drugs and then expect me to spend it with you. My grandmother, if I used to walk in with any money that she does not know where I get it from, she have to send me out the same night to bring it back and put it where we get it from. If anybody give me anything, even if it's a toy, and I say, my friend give it to me, she'll push me outside and say, go and give it back to that friend because you never buy it. If your friend want to give you something, let him bring him parents and bring it to my house and tell them to bring it. Winston, I know exactly what you're saying. We sometimes, thank you very much, DoubleM. Sometimes it makes me very ignorant. Sometimes it makes me very, what's the word? Sometimes it makes me very ashamed. So, to say to myself,
no thanks.
You want to hear it? Oh, it wasn't that. Sorry. Sometimes I'm pretty ashamed of myself for the fact that you know, I can go out and call myself a black father. But give God thanks, I must say I'm one of those few, and there's many out there who don't believe that. Don't get me wrong. Not every single black man is moving away from the children. There are men out there who's giving their time to their family. But we are talking about the majority of our men who's walking away and leaving these boys to survive on their own. And if you look on the streets now, you can see what is happening. DoubleM has brought something to my attention. And if you look, the girls are getting stabbed because they've got a role model. The boys are getting stabbed because there's no role model. Black men, white men, Indian men, China men, if you're out there and you're not a role model to your child, then please, let us stop the killing. One thing I disagree with DoubleM for, the teenagers can't do it themselves. They're going to need intervention from the adults. They're going to need to be trained. They're going to need their mind to be renewed. Because there's no point you just give them something and their mind is in the same place. If their mind is not renewing to learn to have love for another, to learn to love them black skin, to learn to love their black brother, to learn to appreciate what life and the value of life, to understand that they must put away these games that they're playing on the computer and go out and play real football, real rugby, real cricket, to go out and play real golf, to go out and do something constructive, you know, in the community, rather than sit down with their thumbs playing these games, buying these violent games. Until they learn to move away from the computer and move into the community and move from virtual reality into reality, then we're going to have a lot more mothers without their children. God bless you. Thank you very much, DoubleM.